Here's a list of what you're going to need whether you're purchasing or refinancing. First thing the underwriter is going to want to see is documentation of income. If you're a W-2 borrower, they're going to want 2 years, so bring the last 2 years W-2s. If you're self-employed, we want 1099s, and then the last 2 years of tax returns. We do not need state, only federal, but make sure you bring all pages, all schedules. Page 2 should be signed. Watch this, because many times the copies that you receive from your accountant or whoever produces the taxes for you are not signed on page 2. They do need to be signed for the purpose of the transaction. And if you have a profit and loss statement, please bring that as well. If you're incorporated, bring 2 years corporate tax returns in addition to your personal tax returns. Bring your K-1s, and again, if you have a profit and loss statement for the year, please bring that. Underwriter is going to need to see the 30 days most recent pay stubs. So depending on how you get paid, it's probably going to be 2 pay stubs. Most people are paid bi-weekly. If you're paid once a month, we only need 1 pay stub. Any additional income that you're using for qualification, we're going to need proof of that. So if you're using pension, Social Security, you get an awards letter. Child support, you'll want the court order. Annuity, alimony, anything that you have, bring written documentation if you're planning to use that for the purpose of qualification. Next, we're going to talk about assets. Whatever you put on the application, we're going to need to have written proof of. You do not need to use the counts for qualification unless you want to, but if you put them on the application, we're going to need copies of stocks, bonds, mutual fund accounts, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, whole life insurance policies. These are all examples of the assets that you can include. If you do provide us with the documentation, make sure you have all pages, even if they're blank. Underwriter's going to want to see every single page. And then the most common asset is your bank accounts, checking, or savings. We need all pages of those accounts for the last 60 days. They want 2 statements, so that's 30-day periods, so 2 most recent concurrent bank statements. Okay, what else are they going to ask for? They're going to want picture ID. A driver's license is the easiest way to get that done. Passport's another example. Anything with your photo that's government issued will work. What's next? Sign letter explanation. If you have any gaps of employment, they're going to want a letter written by you and signed. I can help you craft that if you'd like. If you have multiple addresses on your income and asset information, they're going to need a sign letter explanation from the borrower explaining that. If there's declining earnings year to date, they're going to want an explanation for that. And last is any credit inquiries showing up on your credit report for the last 6 months, they're going to want to know about. What they're trying to make sure of here is that you're not taking out any new credit that's not showing up on the report. If you'd like to use a particular closing title agent or closing attorney, let us know. We can set everything up with them. If you do not know of one that you want to work with, we have quite a few that we like that we can recommend to you. If you have your original owner's title policy, we can apply for what's called a reissue rate. It's going to save you up to 40% on your policy costs, on your title policy. Now this is in the event of a refinance. In a purchase, you're going to have to get a full title policy, but you'll have a few options which I can walk you through. Next, we need to know who you plan to have your homeowner's insurance through. Homeowners and hazard insurance is the same thing. Those terms are used interchangeably. In a refinance, we can continue to use the same people that you've had, or it makes a lot of sense to take a look and see if you can do better at this time when you're refinancing. If you're purchasing, we need to know who you'd like to use. A declarations page is going to have all this information on it. If you can find that and provide that to us, it's going to make it very easy. It'll have your name, your address, your policy number, your mortgagee clause, and we can handle it from there. Again, if you need some referrals here, I know a lot of very good hazard insurance folks who will be glad to take a look and see if they can do better than what you currently have. Or if you are buying a house, they'll be glad to put a great policy in place for you. Okay, this next part pertains to purchases only. If you are purchasing a home, we're going to obviously need a copy of the fully executed ratified contract. Ratified means it's signed off by both the buyer and the seller. Either you can get us that or your realtor can. We just need a copy of it in our office. Also, any addendums that are part of that contract we're going to need. We're going to need a copy of your canceled check from your earnest money deposit that you made. The earnest money deposit is the money you're putting down to show good faith on the purchase of the house. You can get a canceled check from your bank after that check clears. You're going to give a check to the realtor or the seller, and then we're going to need a canceled check from your bank. Pay attention to these next few things only if they're applicable to your situation. If you're divorced, we're going to need a divorce decree. If you're separated, we're going to need a separation agreement. If you declare bankruptcy, we're going to need bankruptcy discharge papers to include all the schedules. If you're renting, we're going to need the name of your landlord and the phone number and the address if you have that. And if you're applying for a VA loan, we're going to need your DD-214 and or your certificate of eligibility. We'll prepare your loan documents and we'll give those to you for signature. We're going to need the original documents back. Now we don't need those back immediately. You can fax or scan an email, but please hold on to the original documents because we will need those for compliance with the state. One of the documents in the closing package is going to be a credit card authorization. Now this is going to be for your appraisal. We need your credit card information. It's all on the form there. And it's going to authorize that you're paying with your credit card for the appraisal. It's going to be a price of somewhere between $350 and $500 depending on what product you're utilizing to purchase the house or refinance the house. And this will be most likely your only out-of-pocket cost in the transaction. Everything else can be rolled into the closing. The only exception for that is if you're buying the house, you're going to have to pay for the inspection out of pocket as well, and that'll be paid directly to the inspector. I know this is a lot of information, but this is just designed to be a guide or a template. We're going to put a document on top of your loan package that summarizes exactly what we need from you, but this is a good starting point, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call or email anytime. Thank you for taking the time to look at this. Hopefully this helps you get everything in line so it'll be an easier process and smoother process for us. Again, don't hesitate to call or email. Look forward to taking care of your loan. Bye.